Hello, everyone. My name is Bill Fulton, and I'm a principal platform engineer and part of the S&P Global Mobility team. Today, I want to share our journey of building platform engineering from scratch, how we went from having no platform engineering function at all to fully embracing its principles and transforming the way our teams build, deploy, and manage applications in just a few short years. So let's set the stage. Why platform engineering? Just 2 years ago, S&P Global Mobility didn't even have a platform engineering team. Our developers faced slow, manual processes. Provisioning new environments often took days, sometimes weeks, and every new application involved a parade of handoffs between infrastructure, security, and operations teams. Let me give you an example. If a developer wanted to spin up a new environment for testing, they'd have to submit a ticket, wait for infrastructure to provision resources, then wait again for security to review and approve, and so on and so on. It was a frustrating and time-consuming process that stifled innovation and made it difficult to respond quickly to business needs. We knew something had to change. So before we started, we asked ourselves, what do we really want to achieve? Our goals were ambitious but clear. We wanted to empower developers and improve their experience. We wanted to give developers the freedom to focus on building and not waiting on tickets. That means letting them innovate, experiment, and deliver value to our customers faster. We wanted to reduce overhead and speed up time to market. Faster provisioning, fewer manual steps, and less maintenance of static resources meant our applications could be up and running faster and in the hands of customers where they belong. This is critical in a competitive market. Speed is everything. We wanted to achieve operational independence and self-service. Teams should manage their own environments without relying on centralized infrastructure bottlenecks. This not only accelerates delivery, but also builds a sense of ownership and accountability within the teams. We wanted standardization and improved security. We needed consistent patterns for deployments, so all applications followed best practices. No more special snowflakes, and no more straight-to-prod shortcuts. By enforcing standards, we reduce risk and make troubleshooting easier. We wanted end-to-end automation and fast feedback. Minimal human steps means fewer errors, and developers should see their changes live almost instantly and in an environment that is nearly identical to where that application would be deployed in production. This feedback loop is essential for quality and morale. And finally, we wanted modernization and improved performance. We wanted to move away from legacy data centers and tech debt and embrace the freedom of working in the cloud. This is about future-proofing our business and ensuring we can scale as needed. With these goals in mind, there were some significant challenges to overcome. There was skepticism from developers and business leaders. Many were unsure how platform engineering would help them. Some questioned the necessity of an internal developer platform, asking, why do we need this? Isn't what we already have working? There were concerns about how the IDP would fit into existing workflows and how it would impact developers' day-to-day work. Some even viewed these changes as inhibitors rather than value adds. I remember conversations where people would say, this seems like a lot of change for not a lot of benefit. Or, isn't this just adding another layer of complexity? That skepticism was real, and we had to address it head on. We needed to understand where this fit into our business model. We had to consider where legacy teams would fit in when we centralized and automated some of their tasks. These teams had deep expertise, and we needed their input to ensure that our automation was performing those tasks correctly. It was important to make it clear that automation wasn't about replacing people, but about freeing them up to focus on higher value work. We needed developers to be willing to adapt. Developers were hesitant to change their code for EKS compatibility. Many didn't want to spend the time refactoring an already functioning application when they could be building something new. There was also reluctance to adapt to new standards and mandates that were different than the status quo. Change is hard, especially when it impacts your daily workflows. We had to show developers that yes, there would be some upfront effort, but in the long term, these benefits would be worth it. To address these challenges, we decided to embark on the guided MVP program with Humanitech, which proved crucial in several ways. It helped us get started with using an internal developer platform. In just a few short weeks, we added a critical piece of the puzzle that would become the foundation of our platform engineering efforts, an IDP. This was a huge milestone for us, and it gave us a tangible sense of progress. We chose to start small, just one application, one team, one workflow. This made the process more manageable and less intimidating. We worked on integrating the old with the new. We developed new CI/CD processes to work with the IDP while ensuring existing tools were coupled seamlessly with the new processes. We didn't want to throw out what was already working. Instead, we looked for ways to build on top of our existing foundation, minimizing disruption. For example, we kept our familiar version control and build tools, but added automation steps that connected directly to the IDP. This allowed us to maintain continuity while introducing new capability. The MVP also allowed us to rapidly learn how to use the IDP as we focused heavily on deploying just one application for proof of concept. This hands-on approach was invaluable. We got to see the tool's capability in action, and we learned what worked and what didn't very quickly. Our engineers built confidence with each successful deployment, and that momentum helped us push through the inevitable roadblocks. The MVP process also helped us demonstrate value and communicate the platform's power to both developers and business leaders. We can now show, not just tell, how the platform would make life easier. We emphasized that our goal was to enhance their process, not complicate them. We reassured them that adapting to the new standards wouldn't require a huge time investment. I remember moments when even our most skeptical developers saw their changes go live in minutes instead of days. Those moments were turning points in our platform engineering journey. After completing the MVP, we moved into the Production Readiness Program, or PRP, which helped us further solidify our approach and refine our processes for wider adoption. We made our application deployment process more generic. The PRP focused on moving away from very specific resource deployments that were created in the MVP, and instead focused on producing reusable processes and resource definitions. This was about scaling up, making sure that what worked for one application would work for all applications. We invested time in building templates, documentation, and automation that made onboarding new applications much faster and more reliable. Here, we also really expanded our knowledge of the IDP. We refined our processes and documentation to prepare for larger scale usage. This was essential for long-term sustainability. We wanted to ensure we could support ourselves without relying solely on the guiding team. We held workshops, created knowledge bases, and encouraged teams to share their learnings. This fostered a culture of collaboration and continuous improvement. The PRP also allowed us to build out our internal group of subject matter experts. This was a larger group of developers who gained hands-on experience during the PRP, allowing them to establish their own documentation and best practices for using the IDP from their perspective. These individuals became champions of the platform, helping onboarding others and driving adoption across the organization. Now that I've walked you through our journey, from identifying our goals, overcoming challenges, and progressing through the MVP and PRP phases, I'd like to show you what our architecture looks like today as a result of those efforts. This diagram illustrates the overall platform design, highlighting how internal developer platform, CI/CD processes, and cloud infrastructure all come together. You can see how developers interact with the platform, how automation and standardization are enforced, and how the various components integrate to support both development and operations. Let me point out a few key elements. Here's where developers interact with the platform. They write and version their code, just as they always have, but now they also define their application workload for the IDP using a score file. With the IDP portal, developers gain a new level of visibility into their applications. They can see what resources are deployed to support their app, view container logs, and monitor the status of each environment, all in one place. This section shows our automated CI/CD pipeline, which connects directly to the IDP. Our developers were already accustomed to working with Jenkins, so the platform engineering team designed additional automation to work along with it. This ensures that new builds flow seamlessly to the platform orchestrator, triggering deployments into the target environment with minimal manual intervention. Down here, you can see we enforce security, compliance, and observability. We leverage industry standard tools such as Splunk for centralized logging and observability, and AWS WAF and Shield for security and threat protection. This ensures our applications are not only running smoothly, but are also monitored, protected, and compliant with internal and external requirements. And finally, the cloud infrastructure layer provides the scalability and flexibility we need. This is where developers see their workloads come to life. Containers are deployed in EKS, and additional cloud resources such as S3 buckets, SQS queues, RDS databases, and more are provisioned alongside their application, all through automated and standardized processes. So what are some of our key takeaways? Throughout this journey, we learned several valuable lessons. Change management is essential, and listening to your teams is crucial. People need to feel heard. We held regular feedback sessions and open forums where developers could voice their concerns and suggestions, and this helped build trust and ensured we were addressing the real pain points. Early decisions can have long-term impacts. You need to be intentional about your choices and be ready to support them. For example, choosing the right automation tools and standards early on saved us countless hours down the road. It's critical to focus on demonstrating value to gain buy-in from stakeholders. Doing something new can be challenging, and you will likely face some pushback and skepticism along the way. We found that quick wins, like massively reducing deployment times, were incredibly persuasive. And finally, you need to invest in training and documentation to ensure future success. Working on these things early and often will be your best option, so don't forget to set aside time to do so. Good documentation is the backbone of any successful platform. Platform engineering has transformed how we build, deploy, and manage applications at S&P Global Mobility. We're not just keeping up, we're setting the pace for modernization, security, and developer experience. But our journey doesn't stop here. We're always looking for ways to improve and enhance our platform. Some of the areas we're exploring now include integrating even more automation, expanding our observability capabilities, and making the developer experience even more seamless. We're also looking to share our learnings with other parts of the organization so that the benefits of platform engineering and internal developer platforms can be realized company-wide. We know that technology and business needs will continue to evolve, and we're committed to staying ahead of the curve. And with that, I thank you all very much for joining me today. I hope our story can inspire you to take the next steps in your own platform engineering journey.